Masters, which is a huge event. This week, I think it's the Volcom Pro is going on at Pipe, starting, I think the opening period is from today until February 8th, and they're just waiting for a window when they get great weather and they get great waves, and they're going to start that up. So you can see these things are become spectacles, right? This, for a surf brand to be associated with this, creating this experience for their core audience creates this association with the brand that you can never separate, because you've hopefully had an incredible experience hanging out at this contest. And even for little kids, right? So this is Haleiwa on the North Shore, and these kids are in this contest, and they've had a great experience. Why? They all get a participation trophy. LMN has done this cool thing for design, the Seattle Design Festival, where they're able to take their skills on sort of a micro scale and create these amazing projects like fitting with the theme, and lets people experience them that maybe wouldn't come in contact with this firm. It helps build exposure for the firm, helps build exposure for the entire industry by creating these really great things that the public can interact with. So look for opportunities where your firm can get involved, and maybe you don't work in public work, but there may be an opportunity where you can create something in your community that demonstrates your expertise, that shows off how unique and how generous you are with your thinking, and that also, of course, create goodwill that can last forever. We worked with a firm that was having their 20th anniversary, and if there's one thing this industry loves, is celebrating anniversaries. Unfortunately, it usually only manifests itself in this new symbol that goes on the email and the letterhead that says 25th anniversary. But I think there's an opportunity to do much more. So this firm decided to have an experience. They designed an experience that was going to be a 20th anniversary party. This was the save the date that we designed for them. They were also going to introduce a new brand identity, so they were teasing that, but nobody knew that at the time. The 20th rock would fill in that space, which would be their 20th anniversary. At the party, they unveiled the new brand identity, which happened to be these 9 rocks, and their sort of uniqueness standing out was symbolized by the white rock in the middle of the group. And we also talked about how this event could carry on just beyond the actual event that they're creating as an experience. And so we designed these books for them that are titled 20 Years of Service, 20 Lessons Learned. And they're divided up in lessons of life, lessons of design, and lessons of work. This one was a lesson of design, and it says, a good designer is a good listener. And we photographed the 12 designers in the firm's years, and you can't read it, but this little subhead down here at the bottom reads, can you figure out which year goes to which Schmidt design employee? So the cool thing about this book is that the principal got a call one day from somebody who was a customer or a client of theirs, and she said, Glenn, I'm having a kind of a bad day, and I just wanted to let you know that I opened up your book, and I started going through it for inspiration. It's like, wow, you don't hear that very much for marketing pieces and marketing collateral. So he was touched by that, and I was too, because I got to play an active role. Nicole Law, one of our heroes in our industry and part of our region, works out of California, out of the TCOM office, is just promoted to principal and executive vice president. But the part of her title that I love even more is that she's always been what they have, and it's been part of her job title on her card, experience director. So she heads up the experience of all talent of employees, both recruiting and retaining, and then also the experience of all clients. And she's just really done a great job of sort of tapping into how important the experience is. If you want to learn more about this, go to psm.show. Josh did a fantastic interview with Nicole, and you can hear all about her sort of tapping into this experience design in an effort for recruitment marketing. We also have more talent that spoke here at this conference. Ryan Saddam did a great session yesterday, and his whole firm is totally focused on CX, or client experience, or customer experience. And we did, I interviewed him on PSM Show, and so another homework assignment for you is to go and to listen to this interview. So if you're not thinking about this whole sort of client experience and customer experience, I think you're missing an opportunity, and you should start to become well-versed in this area because it's super important. So I'm going to show you the final video of not the end of the show, but a video that if you can get your client to talk about their experience as a testimonial for you, it can be super powerful. This is a firm based in San Antonio, and you'll hear about them. And enjoy.
I would say that from the first day when I came out here to the San Jose, I could tell that Liz had a real passion for it. She had been operating the place kind of like a rundown hotel, charging by the night or by the hours.
Exactly like a rundown hotel.
Exactly like a rundown hotel.
So many people come up to me still and say that they stayed at the old San Jose. I'm like, really? What were you doing down there?
She lived in the neighborhood. She had a sense for what this neighborhood could be, and she had a passion for it.
Everything we did from the beginning was about being part of the fabric of the neighborhood. Lake Plato and Bob Harris in particular were amazing to work with because they shared a vision with me about how the hotel needed to be special in the long run and how even the smallest details really matter.
Liz was tireless in just asking questions and thinking about the place, and it always caused us to really think hard about what we were doing and think about other ways to do it. It's not every day as an architect you get a chance to be so intimately involved with something that's become so socially important and culturally important to a city like what the San Jose has been.
It was always important from the beginning for me to build a neighborhood hotel. The outreach we did, having Sunday brunches and the bar open for wine and beer. We've always done lots and lots of events. So I think it was just our intent to be part of the neighborhood. This place would never have been the place it is, and actually my career wouldn't be the career it is without Lake Plato. I sincerely mean that. I mean, there's, you can, yeah, I've worked with a lot of architects and nobody's brought all the passion, skill, understanding, and thoughtfulness that Lake Plato brings to the table every time.
Yeah, hope you got that.
So it's easy to sort of get wrapped up in the experience of that hotel, but I think what we need to take away there is that experience that obviously Lake Plato created with their client. For her to be so gushing about, she said it changed her whole career, that working with them. So, pretty awesome. Okay, so let's just sort of talk about how you can put this designing experiences into play. The first couple are more sort of on the corporate side. I think you should be creating great experiences during groundbreaking, right? I think you should be creating great experiences when you top out a building, in whatever form that is. It doesn't have to be a skyscraper. You should be creating some sort of experience or celebrating the fact that, opening day of a project. If your firm happens to merge or be acquired, there should be some sort of celebration or experience that is tapped into that. So that's on the company side. Let's talk about the personal side, creating experiences. First days of somebody coming on board. TCOM has this amazing onboarding, like first day and first week that's like choreographed almost hour by hour. Because the worst thing you could have is somebody starting a new company, everybody's asking, how is it? What's it like there? And have them have buyer's remorse and go, I think I made a bad mistake. But if you help shape that experience, somebody's going to be a fan and an advocate from the very beginning, and there's something to be said. Of course, when somebody gets promoted, we should be celebrating it. We should also be sort of celebrating when somebody leaves. And I know that seems sort of weird, but the fact is that you've got a lot of people doing what we call boomerang, right? So they go, they work for somebody else, and then they boomerang back to your firm. And the only way they're going to do that is if they had a great experience in the first place. And the way to sort of cap their whole work experience is to have some sort of a celebration or something to honor them in that very last day of their work. And then, of course, work anniversaries should be celebrated as well. So again, creating experiences that tap into sort of the human side and connect with people are going to make your firm different and more memorable. If you want to go deeper on this, this is your homework. Read the Heath Brothers book, The Power of Moments. Why certain experiences have extraordinary impact. These guys are social scientists, and they really show some amazing examples that tap into this power of moments. You've probably heard the famous Maya Angelou quote, people forget what you say, they forget what you do, but they never forget how you make them feel. And that's the power of designing a really powerful experience. So let's kind of wrap up here. Here are the tools that we talked about today. I hope you'll go out and implement at least one or two of these. Tap into your iconic people, Make sure you have brand ambassadors for every market, for every service. Capture this sort of power of a brand archetype. You can do great things with messaging. And then finally, experience design. So here's the thing. You have this opportunity, right? You have spent the last 2.5 days at an amazing conference. And I'm so thrilled to be here. And I think we're all sort of benefit and grateful of the Hawaiian chapter putting on an incredible event. You've gone to amazing sessions. You've taken in so much information. I hope you've met incredible people. But now it's up to you, right? You're going to leave here and you get to make a choice. Either you can pearl and do nothing with all that you've learned, or you can just absolutely rip. And I hope you'll choose the latter, because I think there's a lot to be said, and I want you to go out, and I want you to share what you learned. I want you to inspire your firm. I want you to make change. And I think it's really kind of up to you. So we'll open it up to questions, and I have one more little wrap up. Here's a little pro tip. If you ever do Q&A, don't actually end on Q&A, because you don't know what's going to happen in that very last question. And so I think it's better to have a little summary at the end, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm letting you sort of peek behind the curtain, and we're going to open up for questions real quick, and then I'll do a super quick wrap up, and I'll send you on your way. So any questions? Yes? Deidre.
So I'm curious, going back to the very beginning when thank you, when you were talking about icons.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times with our technical folks, they're kind of humble. Like, how
Yeah.
do you convince them to do this?
Right, right. Just to be willing to be public, or yeah. I think, sometimes it takes a little bit of drawing them out. I think we sort of have to be great, almost like investigative journalists, ask great questions, mirror back how great they're doing. You talked about in your session about you've got to show gratitude. The best way to sort of get somebody to open up is to share with them maybe some things about you. And so getting them to sort of realize that, wow, they really do have something special. It's so hard to sort of, sometimes realize that about ourselves. And so I think it takes the people in this room to be the champion to sort of take that engineer to a social event and act as their almost seeing eye dog, if you will, and kind of like guide them and say, look, you're killing it, you're doing great, don't worry about it. And so, I think it's our responsibility as perhaps marketers to help people along that path. Any other questions? Yes?
What kind of board do you have?
I have it's designed by my neighbor. His name's Gary Hamill, and it's just called a Hamill. So, I've had a bunch of boards through the years, and it's the one I like now. Somebody always asks, what's the biggest wave I've ever ridden? It's probably about 10 feet. I was on this surf trip in West Timor, an island off of Indonesia. You fly into Bali, and then you take another flight, and then you take another boat, and then you take a van ride. It's like this crazy 2.5-day journey just to get there. And this place was just pumping. It's this left. I'm a regular foot, which means I put my left foot forward. So I was going backside. I'm facing the beach. I'm going left. And this thing, the takeoff is not too intense, but once the wave starts to hit this reef, it really jacks. In other words, it gets really big. And I took this wave and I fell at this critical section. And the problem was that there was a 5-wave set afterward. And so afterward, I got to the surface and I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. I try to duck dive, and I'm just going through the wash. It's like taking my board and spinning me around, and I'm starting to run out of air. And you do this thing where you grab your leash and you start pulling on the leash because you know your board is buoyant, and you start pulling yourself up because you know hopefully you're going to get to the surface and be able to get air. And the problem is that the air isn't super high quality because there's all this sort of turbulence and foam, so there's kind of a low oxygen count. So I grab, like gasp for air, and then I see this other set come, and obviously I lived to tell, but it was a real sort of like come to Jesus moment where like, if I make it through this, I swear I'll be a good marketer. Any other questions? All right, I know I'm keeping you guys at the beach, so let's wrap this up real quick. This conference is called The Wave, right? And so my love affair with waves began 40 years ago, and what I love about waves is that they're